Okay, got the blurb.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for part 2 to Intro to PowerPoint with Dennis Stater from the Bay Area Seniors Computer Club. And with that, I'm just going to turn it over to him. Thank you, Dennis.
Thanks, Paul. Well, welcome everybody. Let's see what we can accomplish in the next hour or so. I'm going to first of all share my screen. Everyone see my screen?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay. Yep. I'm going to go down to the taskbar and I'm going to click the PowerPoint icon. Right. Now, in the first section, we talked a little bit about starting from a blank presentation, and that's the way we went. And I briefly mentioned templates and other things that you can find out here like themes. Right? What I didn't mention was that a number of years ago, Microsoft and other vendors ended all of their file names with 3 digits or 3 alphanumeric characters. And once the capacity of computers became greater, they went to an extension of 4. So if you look over here, can you see the PPTX?
Mm-hmm.
Is that visible for everybody?
Yes.
Yeah, it's small, but we can kind of see it.
Okay. If you drop down here, you'll see a PPT, right? This particular version was an older version of PowerPoint, and this was the default, okay? One of the nice things about the current PowerPoint is you can open up an old presentation if you like. So I'm going to click this, and you can see the presentation, and you can go through the whole thing. This is also an example of a theme that is created by the user. This is not a Microsoft theme. So the theme used by AARP in many of their PowerPoints is the first slide looks like this. And the following slides all have red up here and the driver safety logo down here on the lower right. So as I click through, you'll see that particular theme. So keep in mind, you can use the themes that Microsoft has created for you, or if you like, you can start your own themes. I'm going to start all over here for a moment. All right. In the first part, and this is the PowerPoint that I used, we started from scratch and I began adding slide at a time. I have so much stuff to cover now that I've pre-created a complete PowerPoint presentation that we're going to add to, and it's called Class Part 2. So that's what I'm opening up. Is that visible for everybody now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. 2 things. One, occasionally I get asked for a copy of my presentation. So if anybody's interested, send me an email. I will forward this particular presentation, the PowerPoint. I'm not using any outside notes. So this is the total presentation. Right? The goal on this one is to introduce major features so that as you create PowerPoint presentations, you might say, gee, I'd like that particular feature, and you've had an introduction to it. In the time available, all I'm going to do is to introduce you to the feature and give you a fast example. I am not going to go into a lot of details. If at the end we have some time left over, I'll come back and go a little bit deeper into some of the stuff. Any
Dennis,
questions?
are you okay? Are you okay if people unmute to ask questions during your?
Absolutely.
Great, thanks.
Anybody have a comment or question? Okay.
And I'd add too, if you're more comfortable putting in chat, feel free and I'll feed the questions to Dennis.
This was what we did 2 weeks ago. We opened, we put in information, we reviewed what we had, and we ran a presentation. Are there any questions on any of this? Dead silence. Okay. This is what I'd like to cover today. We're going to talk about how to get help, how to insert various kinds of objects, and then we're going to talk about the major tabs, design, transitions. You can see those up here in the upper left, if you can see where my cursor is.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk about a couple of these guys. I'm going to skip some also. So let's start with help. There's a built-in help function up here called tell me, right? So the first time you have a question, you might want to click this and type in your question. For example, one of the tabs over here is called design, and I don't know what that is. So I might say, what is design? Here's the search on the right-hand side, and it's starting to give me all kinds of information about design. That might be enough information to satisfy the question I have. It might not be, right? So the second thing you can do is you can go to Microsoft, and they have a bunch of tutorials on each one of the features. You can go to Google and do a Google search. You can do a search on YouTube, or there's a bunch of free classes you can take. And as I mentioned last time, some of these classes are 10 to 15 hours, but they're very thorough and they will explore particular topics in much more detail than I can do. Any questions? Okay. So let's start looking at inserting. Microsoft always gives you multiple ways of accomplishing things. So if I move my cursor to the insert, right, this is the insert tab up the upper left, and I click it, I have all kinds of things here. New slides, table, pictures, screenshots, things like that. Right? That's one of the ways you can do things. I'm going to enlarge the screen now. Can everyone see these little boxes here? They're very faint.
Yes.
Okay. These are shortcuts to the insert tab. So if you want to insert something, you can click one of these, or you can go to the insert tab. So I'm going to go to the next one. This is insert table, and that's this little icon here, the very first one on the left. Right? I'm going to click it. Yep, I'm hearing some noise. Anyone make a noise? Okay. This inserts a table, and you have a choice here, the number of columns and the number of rows. So for example, I can go 5 columns and let's say 6 rows, and I say, okay, and I have a table. Right? Now, you can fill in the table with information. I can't spell today. That's why.
Or is it typing?
Yeah. Well, this is why I pre-did everything. Okay. You can put in information. You can put in numbers. Okay. Tables are typically used for numbers. Right? PowerPoint does not have any automatic arithmetic functions. Okay, it's not like Excel or some of the other programs where it will add up things or do things for you. So you can build a table, put in whatever you want on the table, right? And you can go up here and do some changes. Watch how the colors change on the table. Right? This is a common feature in PowerPoint. And there's some other things up here you can come back and look at if you like. Any questions on the table?
I was just going to add, Dennis, all you have to do is click the other color or theme to make it stick.
Yeah. And this one will stay green now. Okay. So tables are used for numbers. For text things, there are two things called a text box and a shape. I am not going to go through this visual, but it is available if you want to see what the difference is. If you create a text box or if you create a shape, you can type text in both. Right? I am going to go to something called shape. Right? Now recall that. Actually, let me go backward for a second. What I want to, I just lost something.
What you lose?
It went out of, I got two slides in the wrong order, but I'll go through them. Okay. If you have an insert a shape, instead of using this little box down here, you come up here to the insert and you come over here to where it says shapes. Right? And if I click it, I get a table of all kinds of shapes. For example, I've used in the past something like an arrow.
Yeah.
And I click it and then I draw an arrow. Okay. And I can move that arrow around. I can play games with it if I wish. And up here again, I have color choices. And we've seen the color choices before. You can also do some effects with it. You can get some, for example, you can put a shadow. Okay. So there's a variety of things on shapes. Shapes is one of the most powerful tools if you are of an artistic bent, because what it allows you to do is to do things and then merge things together. For example, I'm holding down the control key and the left mouse button, and I can move things around and I can duplicate things. Right? So now I have the arrow in two different locations, and I can merge the arrows, and then I can start building different kinds of designs. And you have the capability of getting rid of things that overlap, or keep the overlap and get rid of things that are not overlapping. Quite a few different choices. So if you're artistic or you want something very simple, you can choose a shape.
So what did you do differently to move it in and to
If you hold down the control,
make another one? Okay.
so I hold down the control key, I
Yeah.
grab it with the left mouse and move it.
And you make it.
You can also copy and paste the shape as well.
Yeah, or I can go up and just select a brand new one again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For example, up here, it says merge shapes. Okay, these are the things you can do with shapes. Okay? I can intersect, I can subtract. Here was the overlay and I subtracted. It's a lot of power here. Okay, now I'm going to go to the next feature, which is called Smart Art Graphic. Right? Microsoft took the basic idea of shapes and enhanced it and made it a lot easier so that people can do things. And let me give you an example. I'm going to come back up to insert. And over here, see where it says Smart Art next to shapes?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to click Smart Art. And now they've taken the basic shapes and they've built a whole bunch of things on it. For example, they have a list. Here are things that look like a list. And if you click any of them on the right-hand side, it will give you information in a preview. So if I click this one, it shows me what it looks like. If you want to present something on a process, they have processes. For example, if you're building something like an org chart, you have things like this. For example, we'll put in an org chart. Okay, here's an org chart. Now I can go in here and say this is the president. and this is the VP and sales. Okay, any way you like. So you can type directly into the shape or the smart art, or if you come over to the left, can you, everyone see this little pop-up?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can type over here too. I can go over here and say, nobody. Now, if I hit carriage return, I automatically get a new box, right, which I can type in. Okay. So you have a tremendous power using smart art graphics above and beyond the normal things you would do in shapes. However, you can actually take a smart art graphic and change it back into the basic shapes if you like. If you don't see the pop-up, you see this little box over here? If you click that, you'll come up.
Is that a little arrow, Dennis?
Yeah, it's a little tiny
Yeah,
one.
it looks like it.
I don't know if I can scroll down to it.
Seems to have disappeared.
Yeah, made it too large.
I think it's like a little arrow though, suggesting there's more to the, you know.
Yeah. Well, one of the things that's sometimes a little confusing, and let me point it out. The ribbon up here, okay, has your default up here called home, all right? And you can't do much with this right now. But however, when you click it, the ribbon up here will change. So if I click this, right, I now have highlighted up here Smart Art, okay, and Smart Art Tools. Just by clicking it and everything comes up. If I get out of it, I don't have that capability anymore. So if you're doing some stuff and suddenly it looks like you lost the capability, go into the box or the shape and click it, and you'll bring back all of the stuff you need. Okay. Any questions on the smart art or the shape? And I'm not going to get real technical on this. I just like you to know that both of these features are available. Another dead silence. I can't see anybody. Is anybody sleeping, Paul?
I don't see any sleepers yet, Dennis. Good job.
Okay.
I would also add that, you know, by using that smart art, you're saving a lot of time you would have had to draw out those lines and copy all those extra boxes. So it's going to save you time to use something like that.
Yeah, it's impressive. Thank you.
Okay. The next one is called a 3D model. We'll blow this up again. Okay. If you see these little cursors here, okay, there is none here for 3D model, or you might find one over here. This one says 3D model underneath my cursor. Okay. If I click it, nothing happens. Right? What happens in truth is this is a feature for the online version of PowerPoint under Microsoft 365. This feature should not have been on the desktop, but they forgot and they put something here that doesn't work. Okay, but if you want, you know, a feature like this, I can go to my desktop. Okay. And okay.
And now he's actually in his file explorer.
Yeah. What I'm doing is I'm looking for something I created before. Like here's a smart art icon. And we did something like this before with Word. Okay. We do a copy. and then you can do a paste and bring in stuff. So here's a 3D model, okay, that someone has created using SmartArt probably.
Yeah.
Any question there? Okay, let's go to the next one, insert pictures. If I come over here, this little one says picture, and this little one says online picture. The difference is if I click picture, okay, I go to my computer and I can then search for a picture. For example, if I go to the desktop, I go to PowerPoint and I select a picture and I say insert, there's the picture. Okay. Now, if I go to the online, it says I can go to Bing search or OneDrive. So I'm going to go to Bing and say something like, so I'm picking a model of a Ferrari, see if they can find one. Okay, here's some Ferraris. I'll select one and I'll say insert, and there's the car.
I might add, you might want to be careful adding pictures from the internet because it might not be legal. So you might want to be careful where you use that if you take something that's copyrighted.
Yeah, you might want to look for free stock pictures.
Yeah, when Dennis did the online search, there was a box he could have checked above the pictures of Ferrari that said Creative Commons license. Usually those you're allowed to reuse, but a lot of the others might not be legal to reuse.
Okay.
Go ahead, Dennis. Sorry, I just wanted to add that.
Oh, no, that's good. I wasn't considering that at all. I just take anything I want.
Yeah, most of us do, but I just wanted to warn people.
Oh, okay. Any questions on the insert picture, either going from a local or?
A lot of that, hello,
Yes, go ahead.
a lot of that with pictures depends on how you're going to use it. You can use it personally, but not commercially.
Yeah, fair use.
Yep. Okay, let's go down to the next one. If I come over here, let's see. Okay, there's one labeled here, insert video. Okay, so I'm coming up and I have some videos here. Now here's a video, a guy with a Israeli mask.
So much for the two masks, I guess.
Yep. I can also get here and copy it or move it. I could delete it. I just hit the delete key. Okay. So if you make a mistake, it's fairly easy to get out of it. Hit the delete key or Control Z to go backward. I'll go back to the video again. And here's some other videos. This one's funny too. I don't know if you can hear this or not. Did you get
I can hear it. Can everybody else hear it? Yeah, we can hear it.
Okay. All right.
Hello? Sorry?
Can you put your mask up?
My mask, it's up.
You have to put it over your nose.
Sir, it's over my nose.
Oh my God.
That is too cool.
You like that?
Okay.
I better not see one of those at the library today.
Any questions on video? All right. Icon. What I'm saying is click to add text. Excuse me. You must copy and paste it because over here they have smart art icon. Okay. But on the web, you'll see a whole table of various icons. You will not see an icon by default, a table on this particular version of PowerPoint. And once again, I'm using PowerPoint 2.16. I don't know if a newer or an older PowerPoint might have this capability, but it's blocked on mine. But I can again go to my PowerPoint folder and go down to see if I can find something. Right. So, we found some icons before. I'll try a different one. Here's a typical icon. Do a copy, go back to PowerPoint, come over here and do a paste, and I can pull an icon in. So while the shortcuts aren't there, you still have the capability of coming in and doing things. Now I'm going to go back and create a new slide for a second. And on the layout, I'm going to choose a different layout. Once again, if the slide you're choosing is not exactly what you want, hit the layout and choose a different format. And the reason I'm doing this is we missed one of these. And this is insert a chart. Now, you can choose various kinds of charts if you want to insert them. One of the things is if you were actually in a program like Excel, you would have Excel data and then make a chart from it. This is kind of backwards, right? You're going to choose a chart format and then you're manually going to put in whatever data you want.
Yeah.
So for example, if we choose this one, okay, here's the chart. And over here on the right-hand side are things you can put in. For example, you can add different elements. You can change the color. You can put in different kinds of filters, but you're going to have to come over here and put in your own title. You're going to have to come over here and put in all the categories by yourself. Okay? So it's not quite as useful, but you still have the capability of building a chart in all different kinds of charts.
Where do the numbers come for the bars?
These were just came in. Let me see if I can figure it out.
Can you all see the little spreadsheet looking thing at the bottom?
Yeah, that's what I want to move.
That has the
Oh,
Excel,
okay.
that
I
has
see.
the Excel type information. Like you can see like one of those columns is 4.5, whatever,
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was covered before, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So I can come over here and this is 2.5 and I can make it 5.
Huh, good.
Okay. So again, it's like Excel, except you're going backwards. There's no real calculation here. I can't say add this and add that. But
But
I can
if
build
you
a
did have a
chart.
spreadsheet, you could probably like copy and paste your columns and your rows like over.
Yeah.
You could
Definitely.
couldn't you probably import, copy and paste from, if you created that stuff with all the data in it from Word and put it into this spreadsheet?
Well, like I was saying, it might be
Meaning-
easy if you had a similar spreadsheet and just copy and paste it from that. Because Word's not formatted like the spreadsheet.
Okay, here's an Excel file. Okay, and I'm going to take this information and do a copy. Okay, I'm going to go back here and insert a new slide. I want to insert now a text box. And then do a paste. And I put in information from that spreadsheet. Everyone see that?
But that's an image you can't edit.
Correct. Well, no,
Repeat.
that's not correct.
Oh,
You
you
can't-
can't? Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Barbara, do you have a question?
I just, when the, oh, yeah, it's all right. I just don't, I didn't understand why you couldn't just click in the blank slide and hit paste. Why do you have to open a text box to get the information?
That's the way I usually do it. It might not be necessary. Let me try something.
No, it is, Barbara. It's not like Microsoft Word where the whole page is a page you can just write on.
Yes,
With
There it goes.
PowerPoint, you got to put
Oh.
in a text box to type text. You got to insert a picture to have a picture.
yeah. What's happening is if you want text, you have to have a text box. If you want to paste an image, you don't need a text box. So I did,
Oh, okay.
yeah, I don't know if you missed that. Let me do a new slide.
Well, we didn't really go over, PowerPoint isn't word processing like Microsoft Word, where the whole page is, you can write text on the whole page. With a program like this, you need to put the page in, which is a text box, if you want to write.
I see.
Okay. If you want to put in text, you have to have a box or a shape. If you want to post a picture, okay, you can have a blank. You can come in here and post.
Mhm.
Okay, so before in my example, I did a text box that was not necessary. Okay, let me go to the next tab. These are the major tabs that we will find up at the top here. Insert, design, transitions, things like that. I'm going to briefly talk about each one of these. And let me move this out of the way. So we'll start with the design, right? If I come up here and I click the design, I have something called themes. And this is themes like we saw before we opened up an actual program. Right? And you can make all kinds of changes on these, right? I can come over here, for example, and say, I like that. Keep an eye on the left-hand side. We're the left-hand pane now over here. And if I come over here and I click this, it has automatically put this design on each one of my slides. If I don't like that design, I can come over and choose a different one. Notice how it's repositioned all of the information here. It used to be major tabs were on the top and this stuff was on the bottom. So my caution on using the designs are, if you start at the beginning, you'll be able to type everything in correctly. If you modify it afterwards, such as I just did, it's going to modify everything you put in before. Right?
And I
Here's
just
an
add, you
example.
can see like the animations, it didn't fit in the box.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. Here's animations, just not working. Okay. In addition to that, you have some variants. You can come in and color part of it. Okay. Over here, you have some additional features, which I'm going to skip for the moment. If you don't like any of this stuff, I'm going to do a Control Z and just start backing up.
Does
I'll
everybody
keep-
know what Control Z stands for? It's undo, which is also represented by a little arrow in the top left, which takes you back one step when you click it.
Okay, here's what Paul's talking about, the undo arrow.
And Dennis is just referring to the keyboard shortcut for the same feature.
Yeah. So anyway, in the design, these are the themes, and here's some variants you can make on the theme. So I'm going to go then to transitions. Transitions is a special effect. It's up here at the top, right? And what it is designed to do is, how do you introduce a slide? Does it just show up like this, or do you want something a little faster? For example, I'm going to click transitions, and I have a bunch of little tabs here that I can click, right? So for example, if I do a reveal, watch what happens. So when this slide comes up, that's the way it's going to look. If I do an uncover, that's the way it's going to look. Right? I can do a flat, I can do a fall over. So there's a whole bunch of things you can do here.
Make your presentation look a little more high tech.
Yeah. Well, personally, I would reserve this only for the very first slide, because I think it gets old pretty fast if I did everything.
It can.
Yeah. But once you pick something like this, for example, oh, I haven't used this one in a while. It's like a wind transition, right? If you come over here, you can apply it to all. Okay. That means that all of your slides will have the same one. And you can set up, how does it change? So it'd be on a mouse click. Right? For example, let me see if I can do something here. I'm going to go back up and I'm going to say apply to all. I will come over to start slideshow from the beginning. Can you see how it works on every single slide? That gets old after a while. But if it works for you, go ahead and do it. So I'm going to come back to transitions. I'm going to come back to none and get rid of everything I did. Any question on transitions? All right. What we've done so far is the transition works on the entire slide or all the slides. The next one is called animations. And animations work on information in the slide. Okay. For example, if I click animations here, I have similar things. I have similar things that we saw in the transitions. For example, I can do a wipe. I can do a wheel. See how it's bringing in information? I can highlight this box, and I'll show you something that I use most of the time. Well, maybe I won't. Let me see. Okay. You see the animations up here? Can everyone see these little numbers, 1, 2, 3? Okay. If I come back up, and I'll come up from current slide. This is the slide. And here's the first piece of it. Here's the second piece. You see the difference? What I did was I selected this information. Okay. Let me select this information here. And I'm going to go to animation. And when I clicked it, the effects option popped up. And I'm going to come all the way down to by paragraph. Okay. And that's what was done over here. So what the power here is that it can specify different items. I'm going to click none for a second. I'm going to highlight these. I'm going to do a wheel. Effect option. And I can change it. So these are coming in now. So you have the capability of doing all kinds of neat things, either on the entire slide or individually on slides. Okay.
Can you slow it down? When it comes,
I don't recall if there's a speed. Let me do a none for a second. Okay, all of these say 1, so they come up. I can't slow down the effect itself, but the effect only comes up. The effect only comes up each time you hit like a click.
okay.
Okay, so you can time the clicks you make, but I don't think you can control the speed of the actual animation. Yeah. But animations are a lot of fun to play with.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to delete something that's out of order. Okay, go ahead. Anybody? All right. Let me come back then to the next one. This is the view slide. And the view is over here. We briefly touched on it in the first one, but I want to take another look at it. So I have the view here. And let me do something. Okay, I've reanimated this. Right?
Yeah.
See how they're coming up one at a time. So as I say, I like the animation. You can play all kinds of games on it.
Anybody getting dizzy?
Yeah, if I went back here to slideshow and I say from the current slide, okay. Now each time I hit enter, one at a time comes up. This is where the timing comes in.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just waiting and waiting and waiting, and I say, okay, now, and now. And then I'm going to talk for a while about whatever came up. Then I'm going to click it again to get the next one. So I find if I have a lot of points I want to talk about one at a time, I find that works out nicely. When I show all the points at the same time, I'm talking about this point, and people are down here reading about this one.
It helps people focus on what you're talking about.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you can do that reveal, Dennis, without the spin part that triggers vertigo for some?
Yeah, yeah.
Yes,
well,
definitely.
Here's animation. I had the swivel, okay? But I could have it just appear.
Ah,
Yeah, you just pop the next one up, like plain text, not moving.
thank you.
Yeah. So we look at slideshow. And it's just one at a time coming up. I control the speed of when I want to see it by clicking when I'm ready.
Okay.
Okay. So we're reached the end and questions, or I'll go back. We have probably about 10 minutes or so.
Dennis, I want to show folks something real quick. Could you go back to the slide with your shapes? Yeah, I mean, click on that one. And I just want to show people one way I usually manipulate my shapes in Microsoft is I just right click on the shape. Could you right click on it, Dennis? And then I left click. Do you see something there that says format shape, Dennis? Oh yeah, the second to the last says format shape. Could you click that, Dennis? And here you can mess with color, size, lines. There's tons of, what color you're going to fill it with, no fill, percentage of the color. So I usually just, once I insert a shape or picture, I usually right click on it and manipulate it that way. It's just another way to do some of the same things Dennis has been showing us. Thanks, Dennis. I just want to point that out.
Sure. Yeah, like a gradient here.
Yep.
Change
And you can do the
color.
same with a picture, like right click on it and go and click format picture, and you can like blur the edges, add a line around it.
Yeah, so there's a lot of power, for example, in the pictures. Okay. I'm not going to go into it because I have difficulty. You can select this image and you have an option to remove background. And all of this stuff here will disappear. Sometimes you have to manipulate a little because the tire may or may not be considered background.
Yeah, you got to play
So,
around with it.
yeah, but there's a lot of good stuff you can do with it. Okay. Anything else you like to add, Paul?
One thing I often do is like click on the icon or video slide. Sometimes I just want to change the background on a specific slide because this is very bland, it's white. So you can just go up to design. Could you click design, Dennis? And then over all the way on the right, you could click format background. And then it's on solid fill. So where it says color, he can click that little arrow and just select any color, Dennis. And there you have a background that isn't white.
Can
And
you
often,
change,
go ahead.
can you change the shape of the video? Like
I don't
broaden it?
know.
Or,
I'm not sure about a video. Oh yeah, I guess you can.
oh, you can make it bigger or smaller. Yeah.
Yeah, at least that initial image you can. Yeah,
Oh, there you go.
but then everything's going to be stretched.
Well, maybe it's even funnier.
Yes, true. Funnier mask.
Hello? Sorry?
Can you put your mask up?
My mask, it's up.
You have to put it over your nose.
Sir, it's over my nose.
Oh, wow, that is too cool.
You like that?
Funny again the second time.
Yeah. I'm still scared I'm going to see him at the library.
What are some of the options you have there about format video on the right-hand side there? What are some of those top options? You got background color and
Brightness, contrast.
Border.
and okay.
Yeah, I personally haven't played with these, so I'm not sure what it's going to come up to look like.
A lot of it's similar to formatting a picture, Renee, where you can like put a line around the image or,
Right. Okay. Yeah, I was wondering, you can't change the shape. Sue had the question about changing the shape, but you can't change the shape like into a heart or something like that, I don't think.
It
I
might be
don't know.
possible. And one thing to note, when you're changing the size or shape of a picture or like this, if you do it from the corner, it'll keep the right
Yeah.
ratio. But if you do it from the side or the top, you're going to ruin the ratio.
Yeah, I was just wondering, just for fun, let's say
Sure,
you were
sure,
making,
sure.
let's say you were making you went into shapes and you put in there a heart, and then you inserted this video into that heart. I wonder if that would work.
I know there's a way to do that with a picture. I'm just not sure if it would work with the
yeah,
video.
yeah, interesting.
Let's see.
Yeah.
But that'd be kind of fun to do something like that.
Oh, sure.
Oops.
Yeah, that didn't do it. I was trying to put a shape in it.
You have to select the shape.
You know, I selected shape and I selected one. Okay,
There we go.
so it came out over here. I can actually move it over. Okay. Well, one of the things in any type of editing program, if you haven't used it before, is the idea of layers. And if you envision everything I'm putting on here is on a sheet of clear glass. And I might have some information on a sheet of glass, and I put another sheet of glass on top of it, and I put some more information, and in a third sheet of glass, and I put some more information. As you look at the top one, you'll see the top, the second, and the third one. But you can move things around. So this would be on the top layer, moving on to the second layer, right? And up here, there's bring forward or send backward to make some changes on shapes.
Yeah, and I would add, if you have two shapes overlaid like Dennis is talking about, and you can't manipulate one of them, you probably have to send the other one back or bring that one forward in order to access it.
Just keep in mind the idea of layers, and that'll help you.
Yeah.
So Dennis, when you were working in the animated text on that one slide and you said you can do different, apply different effects to different portions of the text on the same slide.
Yeah.
Does it have to be in its own separate text box to do that?
Yes.
Okay.
I have actually here
Good question.
a large box, and then I have a smaller box.
So those are like the layers that you were just talking about.
Kinda,
Yeah, kind of. I'm not sure if
because he has a text box within a text box.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And then I can, control all of those. Does that make anyone nauseated?
Yeah, a little bit. I might just add too, one of the reasons you'd want more than one text box on a page is it's a lot easier to move those groups of text if they're not clumped in the same text box. Because if they're in the same text box, the only manipulation you have is creating like extra space or margins. But if you have two separate text boxes, like by having the one inside the other, Dennis can move that secondary text box anywhere within that.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas if he had one text box, he'd be limited just like a Microsoft Word page.
I see.
Here, see, I'm moving it around a little bit.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm going to stop sharing for a minute. Okay, I gave everybody my email. If you want a copy of this particular presentation, send
Dennis,
me
I
an
was going to
email.
ask, do you think you could just send me both of your PowerPoints and I'll just email all the registrants, both of them with links to the videos when I get this one up?
Sure,
Is that
I'll
cool?
do that. Yeah.
Thank you. And also start thinking, because in that same email, I'll probably ask what future classes you guys might be interested in, tech classes that you might want Dennis to teach, because Dennis has offered graciously to teach more classes for the library. So if you guys have any ideas of some tech skills you want to upskill on or just learn from the beginning, let Dennis or I know, and we'll work on getting a class around that.
Well, this was very helpful, I think. I really learned a lot, Dennis. And
Yeah.
surprisingly.
Yeah.
OneNote. Ooh.